No.
Why don't we do a take two?
Wait a minute, let's start again. Hello.
Hi, this is Ron Vodry.
This is Alex Nussbaum.
This is Jason Fraser.
This is Matt O'Brien.
Hey, this is Ray Zwicker.
All right, world. My name is Cal Post.
Guys, this is Christina Walkinshaw.
This is Eddie Delaseppe.
This is Adrian Spencer.
My name is Timo.
And you're listening to the Julien Dionne
You're listening to the Julien Dionne Comedy Hour podcast.
Who am I talking to? What am I doing?
Julien Dionne Comedy Hour.
You're listening to the...
Comedy Hour. See, I took the word out comedy. Changes the meaning completely, doesn't it?
Days and not really, I'm overworking, but days in the holidays. Happy holidays. You're listening to the Julien Dionne Comedy Hour podcast.
And aren't we all?
Now broadcasting live and totally uncensored, from Lemon Press Studio in the beautiful Gatineau Hills
Podcast.
Project. I was like half asleep on the couch and now I'm projecting.
Hey everyone, this is Christian Potenza.
This is K. Trevor Wilson.
This is Jean Paul, a.k.a. the Island Hipster, #hipsterbusiness.
This is Steph Tola.
Hey, this is Jake Goldsby.
This is Sky Wallace.
Hey everybody, this is Erica Sigurdsson, aka Ricky Siggs.
Okay, hello. Hi.
This is Howard Wagman.
Hey, this is Peter Anthony, the PA system.
This is Matt O'Brien.
Some people like that's my rap name.
This is Jen Grant and you're listening to the Julien Dionne Comedy Hour podcast.
Show.
You and me belong, just like the flowers, laughing all day long. People, I need you loose. Sing a little song, then take a shower. Julien Dionne.
It's a show. It's not an hour. It's a show. It's okay.
Such a beautiful waste of time. A waste of time. A beautiful waste of time. A waste of time. I went to school, yeah, I learned a lot. Got a degree in what I'm not. You spend your life looking for what you already got. It's such a beautiful waste of time.
All right.
A waste of time.
Welcome. Good day to you. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Julien Dionne Show without Jen Grant today. Let me turn this down. That's a little crazy off the top. All right. Yes, welcome to a brand new episode of the Julien Dionne Show without Jen Grant. Without, yes, I know. And again, every time I say episode lately, I say it's so French, episode. Welcome to the episode. I am your host with the most. Episode 426 today. Trevor Thompson joins us. The one, the only, the hilarious Trevor Thompson. Yes, newly bilingual comedian. Sigida. Missed it. Sigida. Shittiga. Missagad. What? Anyway, and of course broadcasting to you from Lemon Press Studios in the beautiful Gatineau Hills. Hey. Hey. Jen is not here, as you can see. She's taking the day to, she's got keynote, a keynote tomorrow, an important keynote, so she's going to be working on that. Sorry, I'm distracted. So I'm on the board, I'm on the, Trevor's in the room. Oh, there he is. Why is that so funny? Not yet. Anyway, So she's off. She's not sick or anything. You have to specify now. Anytime someone's late, missing, yeah, you want to alert someone, but if someone's absent, oh God, what happened? Is it the Rona? No one calls it the Rona anymore. There's a cold going around. Excuse me. There's a cold going around, and people are just okay with it. I'm so nervous. How are you cool? Like, people are like, I woke up stuffy this morning, but there's a cold going around. I'm like, how are you relaxed about that? About a thing going around that is the same symptoms as a global pandemic that we're having. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying when I say that? It's kind of like the same symptoms. It's like, dudes. No, I don't know. I freak out if I had any cold symptoms of the cold that's going around. I'd be like, well, can someone just test me? Even though I'm double vaxxed, now it appears it's not enough. You got to get the booster. So, yeah, that's that. What? That's if there was like a contagious brain disease going around. That was, you did not want to catch this thing. And then there's also a headache going around. Yeah, there's a headache going around. And be like, maybe check. You know? You know what I'm saying? Trevor Thompson is our guest today. Did I say that? Already I did. And Trevor, Ottawa-based comedian. One of the best comedians to come out of Ottawa. From the city, in the city. Now doing it in French. We've done a few shows in French. And so we'll talk to him. Let me just go right to him, actually. So if you've got any questions or comments at any point, as you do know, we are a live podcast. So if you are watching on YouTube, hit that smash that like button, as they say. And if you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and give us a share. I've got my non-alcoholic Heineken today because it's a Thursday and it's loose. We're loose. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to admit Trevor Thompson. It seems it sounds dramatic going to admit him. All right, here he is. I just want to make sure that everything is working. You're on mute, Trevor. You're muted. I said on mute, which sounds like unmute. There he is. Let me just pull him up on the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, the hilarious and talented Trevor Thompson, everybody.
Hi.
Yes.
Wow. I didn't realize you had a studio audience in there. How's the lighting? Is it?
I do. The lighting is good.
Oh,
Try the light.
That's terrible. That's bad. I don't know. I don't know anything.
That's aggressive.
Yeah. Thanks. Sorry, I'm still in French brain, so I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be like. I instinctively wanted to start speaking French to you.
What? How was so Trevor? I just mentioned. By the way, I'm really late. Usually, I would have talked you up more and then brought you up, but I'm late coming into doing the show today. So
yeah, I'm working right now, so I'm just kind of I might have to look at email every now and then. But
what do you do? What do you
it's just contract work. It's not interesting. It's short-term contract work. I won't be doing it. I'll only be doing it for about another month. So
I like the vague nature of it. It's like a buddy of mine. He just left. He had a position on TV, like on-air personality for Radio Canada in Moncton.
Oh wow!
And for 20 years he was on there. He's a good buddy. He does comedy too, Sam Chasson, and he just left after 20 years. And when asked what he was going to do, he said, "I left to go in the private sector." I'm like, that's so. Oh. I want to be in a situation where I can say that. It's just so vague and.
Well, that's translation for I'm going to make a fuck ton of money.
Right.
I think probably. Yeah. No. Like I work on contract for a political party, and I work for the flu, and I work for a political party. It's pretty. It's obviously because there's an election campaign going on right now. I'm working kind of every day.
Yeah.
But they want me working every day, but a lot of day to day, it's just like there's not always that much going on for me. So I don't know. It's weird. It's like Have you ever had that? Sorry to go like this has happened to me a couple times where you get hired at a job and they're like, we need you to start stat. We have so much to do. This is we need you to come in today. No, you can't wait till next week. And then you start the job and it's kind of like,
yeah.
Like it's sometimes it's like that. Where like, okay, yeah, I'm on the clock working, but it's like, I mean, there's nothing necessarily for me to do all the time. So I don't really,
For me, I've discovered in recent years, way later in my working career that I'm not a self-starter. And
me neither.
That's like one thing. I like to think that I am. And it's like, yeah, that sounds like I could be a self-starter. And people have told me, and I've gotten jobs and where they're like, we need you to be a self-starter. And I just get this sinking feeling. And I'm like, oh shit, that's just going to be a lot of me doing nothing.
When I worked in sales briefly as like a sales rep for a beer company, it was like you have to, and just there'd be days where I'd be like, oh my God, I'm not going out to bars to humiliate myself today. I can't be a self-starter. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm a really good employee. If you tell me like, okay, show up at this time, do this, that. But
I like being told what to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will do the shit out of that thing. But and forever I thought I was a self-starter. I'm like, yeah, of course I can do all this stuff on my own. And then I had to accept it. No, I'm not.
Mm-hmm. No. I get it.
I procrastinate too much. I'm distracted too easily. I just think of other stuff I want to be doing.
It's like we're the same person.
And we found out here today. A Julien Dionne exclusive. Trevor Thompson and Julien Dionne are the same person.
Des jumelles. Wow, you're a real organized setup. You got the morning radio show sound effects and everything.
I wanted to talk to you. So Trevor, as I mentioned in your intro, one of the best comedians in Ottawa. You've been doing it for about 15, 16 years in English, but you are, as you have been a public servant for many years, bilingual.
Mm-hmm. I'm not anymore. Not a public servant, but I'm still. But yeah. So last night.
So how was last? So yeah. So I've since I started doing comedy in French about 4 years ago, I wanted to be the person to bring English comics that speak French to cross over and at least try it in French, and then you can kind of run with it or see where you're at. So we've been talking about it for a few years now, and finally, 2 weeks ago, you did your first set at Le Troquet in Old Hull, and actually I realized in English that no one calls it Old Hull, it's just Hull, but in French they say Vielle.
I just call it Hull. I call it the Strip, right? Because it's funny. I was walking to the show last night, and I was talking to my mom. I hadn't talked to my parents in a while, and I was on the phone with my mom, and she's like, "Oh, you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm walking to a show." Like, where are you going? Oh, just walking to Gatineau. You're walking to Gatineau? Oh, like she thought I was walking to like I don't know,
Costco,
like Drummondville or something. It's like it's right across the river, Mom. It's like Hull. It's not Point Gatineau, like or Buckingham or something. Like it's literally right across the bridge.
A lot of Ottawa people think Gatineau, they think Costco, they think where that is, and that would be a hike to walk. And you just picture all highway, like she just pictures her boy walking on the highway, trying to get to a gig.
But that's way the hell out by like Haute Plaine or isn't it? Or not Haute Plaine, but
no, you take the 50 on the way to Montreal.
I don't know.
Speaking of the 50, I'm just going.
My Gatineau geography isn't the best, I guess.
Yeah, speaking of 50, I'm just going to take a second and do traffic right now. Westbound on the 50, there is an accident. It is slow. No,
you do this? No, you should. Like a little 1038.
And now for traffic.
Hi, Julien. This is Trevor, your roving traffic reporter.
And
I'm a little hungover.
And so then we did the bilingual show, which is always I'm not a fan of doing bilingual shows, but we did one in at Alexandria in at the Atlantic Pub. Bilingual shows never work. I mean, or very seldom do they work, I should say, because you'll get French people, you'll get francophones come out at a bilingual show, but you won't get English speaking people. So you may as well just do it a French show or an English show. Like it scares away English people.
Yeah, that doing that show, I can see where you get that from for sure. Because there is kind of a because like the end of my set, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a joke in English now because like nobody else really was doing much English. So, and it was billed as a Franglish show, right? And that's the thing, right? Like, especially, I mean, the fact of the matter is in these parts, I mean, most like fluently bilingual people, they're all francophones, right? So if you have francophones at a show, they'll understand English.
Exactly.
But the Anglos might not understand the French. Even me, as a bilingual person, like some of the acts, I have a hard time understanding.
Oh yeah, totally.
Talk really fast. I'm like, I really have to pay attention.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I polled the audience at that show at the Atlantic Pub in Alexandria, and we there was like you said, every French speaking person will understand English, so that's fine. And then I asked if anyone didn't understand French, and there was one table. There was one table of 3 that didn't understand French at all, and then one guy at another table.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
the guys from Newfoundland.
Yeah, so I'm like, anytime that you are speaking French, you lose them right away because they're like, we don't actually understand one word.
What's this? I don't know.
So bilingual shows never, honestly, I've done so many of them, and I've said that I wouldn't do them again, but I was approached by the Atlantic Pub, and he's such a great guy, that Ron, and I'm like, you know what, we'll do it. And
but the show went well.
Yeah, it was fine.
The show went great. Like, I mean, the crowd was great. They were into it.
And then it's also like, how bilingual do you go? Like, do you do sentence for sentence, bit for bit? Do you do word for word? Hello, bonjour.
Well, that's why. Like when I did that benefit for Andrew Albert last week, there were a lot of francophones in the room. So I started off my set with like the one-liner joke I do about being a writer, right? And then I literally did the translation of it. And then I was just like, federal funding, please. You know, like it's a good gimmick, I think, right? It's like, this is how if you do make the shows truly bilingual, then that's when the Canadian heritage will be like, oh, just take our money.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
Patrimoine kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so, and then last night you did your 3rd set at Minotaur. Yeah, Minotaur on that strip in Vieux. How'd it go? How was it? It's upstairs.
Awesome. Awesome. It went great. I had a really good set. Went well. Got a lot of laughs. I recorded it audio. Will I listen to it? Probably not. But I'm notorious for that. I record all my sets and then I don't listen to them. It was a fun night. The room was packed. It's great energy in that room. It's a room like I don't know what the capacity was, but maybe 40 or it's like. But it was an awesome show. I had a great time. Had a lot of fun. All the comics were really nice and
it's a different vibe in French for sure.
I find, and I mean, I've only done 3 shows because like I'm a little worried about, right? Like, I wonder if like doing what I do, especially because like I have an accent, right? And that's part of my shtick, I guess, but it's not an act. Like it's like how I actually speak French, right? Yeah. But like if if there'll be some like people, like artists that might resent it because they're like, oh, this is a life hack or it's like a party trick or something.
Like a gimmick, like nostalgia.
They're gimmick, like they're only laughing at you because of an accent. And I don't know, maybe they secretly think that about me, but like they're everyone's super nice so far and very accommodating. And it's just this seems like a really healthy scene compared to the English scene, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I think if your line every time you meet, or if not every time, but I've heard you when you meet a new comic, you go, oh, good, another shark in the what was it? Another shark in the tank.
Shark in the tank.
I mean, congrats, welcome aboard.
I used to use that line of like if I'd be hosting a show and somebody new would go up and just tear the room apart, I'd be like, oh, great, I know, but no, it's. No, it's a whole new world. I'm excited, and I need to thank you again, because you're the guy that got me to shit or get off the pod, because I've been talking about it for so long. And when you finally like, hey, August 15th, like, okay, fine, I'll finally fucking do it. So
yeah,
I'm glad I finally got into it.
Well, it's like doing stand-up for doing stand-up for the first time ever. It's like you're never going to feel really ready. It's like you have to be kind of forced into it. And so that's what I want to do for English-speaking comics that speak French, to do it. And again, it's just like, at least try it once, so you can have your own preconceived notions of the thing and make your own opinions of. Because at first, I had shied away from doing comedy in French because I had this idea of it. I was like, it's so lame, French comedy. It's like clowny, like over the top, like characters, super smiley, like and there is still some of that, but. Then you start doing it and you go, there's actually a lot of people that do really some great work. And so, then
like Bumblebee Man from The Simpsons.
Yeah, exactly.
Oy, oy, oy.
Yeah, 100%. And so and there is still some of that, but then you do it in French, and you also realize how you're just doing stand-up, but in a different language, but it's the same thing. So you go, well, I'll just do more of this if I can. I mean, why the hell not?
Yeah.
I thought it would feel different. Like I thought it would feel like I'm not doing stand-up, and I'm doing like a French but I'm like, when you're on stage, you go, oh no, this is just the same thing.
Yeah, when you're on stage, because I had that moment last night when I was on stage where I was like, in my head, I'm kind of like, this is different, but it's really not that different, because like we've talked about, right? Like, would I be this bold to try doing comedy in French 10 or even maybe 5 years ago when I wasn't as good a comic in English? Probably not. Like, I only feel now I have the confidence to try in French because I have my stage legs from doing it in English. And like we talked about how like, you're starting in a new language, but your experience that you've accrued in English definitely helps, right? Like it's going to help you, because the confidence and just doing jokes that you've translated that work in English is like you've got an advantage that way. It's not like I'm starting cold as a guy who's never
it totally translates it 100%. And I was thinking the same thing too at the beginning. I was like, shit, I should have done that. Like once I started, I'm like, I should have done this so much sooner. And then at the same time, just like you said, you nailed it. I'm like, I don't know if I have the skill set to because it totally does translate. I mean, you're just the jokes are different and the wording, and it's in a different language, but it's the same muscles overall that you're using. So that for the 15 years that you've been developing that muscle on stage in English, I mean, you right away by starting, especially around here, you have you come in with so much more experience than the average person that's hitting the stages in this area.
Yeah, like I for sure that it's definitely it's the only way I have because it's funny, like it's different, but it's the same. But like I know, like I'm not exactly the same comic in French, obviously, because like Julie.
Well, you have that beret that you put wear in French,
and the accordion I play on stage with a baguette. I read from the works of Sartre. Well, l'enfer c'est nous autres. No, but like Julie Dugas, who was also on the show last night, and she's somebody we both know. Like she's a francophone, but like she's just kind of starting to do comedy in French as well. Like she's English first.
Yeah.
Like she lives her life in English, but she's a francophone.
Right.
And anyway, so she was on the show last night. I guess pretty much in English, but also, and like she was saying to me afterwards, like she's like, I kind of like you. I like your vibe more in French than in English. I'm like, she said you're I'm like, okay. She's like, you're less because in English I can be kind of scatterbrained. I mean, in French I am too, I guess, right? But like I get like I go off on these tangents all the time, but like it's harder to riff like that in my second language because I'm not as comfortable about it. So I guess I stay a little more on script. I still had a couple of asides last night, even in French, that I guess they thought was cute. I don't know, but like it all seemed to kind of work. Like it just, I don't know. Like, I mean, again, it's only my third set. There's a long way to go, but I felt good about it. Like I even the leadership joke that nobody else understand, but I actually tried it again.
Did you do
last
it? Yeah,
night.
I was going to ask you.
And at first they were like, but then I was like, no. Like I actually continued with it, and I actually got a pretty good laugh for it. Like it actually kind of worked, and I'm like, okay, good. Like all in all, it was just a totally positive night. It was great. Yeah.
Well, you were funny and being typical Trev after your second ever set in Alexandria, where you did that leadership bit for the first time ever. Which, for the listeners, the premise is essentially that there's no French word for leadership, which is funny. Like no one took the lead on that and like changed.
Yeah.
So,
like how can somebody not have the leadership to create a word? You know.
Yeah. And. Very funny premise, and we had talked about it before you've ever tried it, and I go, dude, that's hilarious. So you go, I'm going to try that. So without even like writing it ever even down, you go on stage and you try. Then after the set, you have this killer set. You close on a bit. You went English on the closing bit because it was a bilingual show, and just blew the roof off the place. Then you're in the green room after. You're like, fuck, that leadership bit got nothing. I go, you've never said that combination of words ever. And it was in your second language. The first time you said those words in that order, and it didn't land, and you're freaking out.
I told that story to a lot of people in the last couple of weeks, actually, where like I've been like typical, like complaining about like how the hell didn't I get, and then like I say, like I needed Julien to give me perspective. It's like, dude, you've never done that joke. You've never even written it out. You just kind of half-ass thought it out. And it's in your second language and your first time doing it. And it's true. I didn't even try to sell it. I just kind of was like, positive move for leadership. And then I just completely fucking bailed on it. I didn't even, it's like, you got to fucking sell it, man. So that's
you got to sell it.
Night.
And there is energy that goes into selling it. And it requires mental energy, but you don't.
I have plenty of that. Energy is not a problem.
But what ends up happening in French for someone like you or I, when it's your second language, is you do have that mental energy, but you're also dedicating some of it to it's being sucked away. There's that extra added step in your brain for translating. So you kind of there's that extra step in French that happens that.
Yeah, I feel like I am, even for my third show in though, like I've noticed a difference how like I'm getting like the translating when I have to on the fly in my head. It felt quicker last night than it did even on my first show. A couple times where I was like, oh shit, how do you say that? And I was able to get my point across. But like, I mean, I have an accent and I know that's part, right? Like John, the host, even afterwards, he was like, it's almost like it's a second punchline you have for every joke. Just before you even get to the punchline, they're laughing at your accent. And it's like, yeah, man, it's like, I can't help it. That's just how. I'm glad I never actually, I guess, learn because I learned French just from watching TV, and like I took it in school for a bit, but like I've never lived in Quebec or lived in an actual, like a truly French environment, right? So that's why I speak French like, a bureaucrat.
You speak very Parisian French, but and the more you use it, the more it'll like smooth out the kinks. Because it's like me, it's my first language, and if I don't use it, I lose it. And even though it's my first language, until I discovered new words in French, like just regular words that are used all the time. That even being just Acadian French from New Brunswick, I didn't know what the hell those words meant. Yeah, for sure. Well, because like I know like the kind of French that you probably learned like growing up, there's so many like anglicisms, right? That like, there's some words where you're like, I don't even know how to say that word in French. Well, like
how we say in English.
Because in New Brunswick, I'm French, and we say if there's a heat wave in French, we go, there's a heat wave. We go, yen heat wave.
Yeah, you don't say canicule.
Canicule, like what the fuck? And that's a late one. I just noticed like recently. I just discovered recently what that one meant. I'm like it sounds like a hangnail or something, like a part of your finger.
Canicule, yeah. It sounds like, is that like a new restaurant in like Le Canicule?
Yeah. Like, ow, I have to cut my canicule because I've got a hangnail. Like canicule. How do you get that from heat wave? That one I just literally in the last few weeks, like this summer, learned. I'd see people post about French memes, but the canicule.
I don't think Yeah, I don't think I ever remember seeing that word until like a couple of years ago either, Kenny could. But I'm trying to watch more news. Like I make a point of I watch the news in French every day. Like I'll watch Radio Canada's lunchtime news or whatever, just to like, you know. So that's I think how I probably learned that word.
That's a great way to learn how to.
It is, man.
That's a great way to learn dialect and accents. Like if you want a general Quebec accent.
Yeah, well, because like the French they speak though in Radio Canada is very like.
Yeah, that's true, but
polished.
Very
neutral. Is it true though, Quebec? Because I can't pick it up. Like there's like people in Gaspé sound different than people from Chicoutimi and people from Rouen. Like
there's accents all over. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense because I can't hear it right. Like to me, I can't pick up on those little subtle things.
Yeah, you probably will eventually as you do shows in small towns and stuff and realize that people talk to you, go, oh, that's different.
Whenever I do the Victoriaville Comedy Festival or whatever.
Victo. Rodage. Rodage was another word I'd never heard in French. Rodage. That's
rodage. Yeah.
Rodage, like I don't fully know what it means. I've only ever heard it in the context of like comedy shows, like where you're kind of practicing, like when you're trying out new material, like because these comics in French will go on these one-man shows, but before they'll be en rodage, so you'll see like a comedian's name. It would be like Trevor. It'd be like Trevor Thompson en rodage, so people go, okay, it's like new material. But
they actually advertise it like that.
Yes, but
it's like.
Yeah, but I find it's like I like not all comics do it. I wouldn't do like I don't know like the word rodage just means like it kind of takes away from it if you ask me. Like if you're an audience member going to a thing, I don't know. It's just like, is he going to half-ass it? Like
I mean, I guess the equivalent like workshopping, right? Is that?
Yeah, but it's like it's still pretty tight, and it's like written material, and it's set up punch, and it's like written out, and everything. It's just not tested as much, so it's like you're testing, and so you're doing a bunch of shows that are that, but you can do like dozens and dozens, even maybe hundreds of show de rodage, and for me it's like, so you'll go to a theater in a small town, it's like Trevor Thompson en rodage, so it's like the ticket price might be a little bit cheaper, but it's like.
It's like truth. It's truth in advertising, where they're like, "Look, there's some. It's not going to be all."
Yeah, but I think
which is
in English you don't have that attitude. In English, you leave it out on stage every single time. Like you never phoned it in or go, "Hey, this is just like it's we're just testing." You don't announce you're testing things because no matter who's there in the audience, you go. You go. You give your best. You want to fucking. Do well, so but I think also in French when they do those rodage, it's all new. It's where in English you'll sandwich new bits in between, and you kind of developed. You kind of always writing new material. Where in French, I think they'll write a show from cover to cover. It's all new, and then they'll go rodage, like test it out, and then they'll go. Then they'll once they test it out a bunch of times, then they go, "This is the show," and so I take it back. I was shitting on it, but then I go, now it makes sense, especially the whole show.
Now you've talked it out.
Because it's 100% new. You're writing a new 90 minutes. So yeah, tell the audience like, listen,
you were saying that how like they tend in Quebec to write like comics will write like instead of like a new 10, they write like in blocks of like, okay, here's 90 new minutes, and then okay, here's 90 brand new minutes, and like.
Well, that's when you have your one man show, but just if you're just doing rooms and stuff and building. French comics write a lot. Like they take it seriously. I mean, you're always writing new material. I mean, you don't do your same 7 over and over.
You don't ride the like some like English comics where they get 40 minutes and then they just never write a joke ever again.
Even like no, definitely not. But even like at a micro level, like even just if you're doing a bunch of rooms in a month, like it should not be the same set everywhere forever. Like. Yeah, a little bit, but also, I don't know. They write so much, and it's because again, it's big business. So, and like I told you before, you go to like a green room, and there's always like booze in the green room, and no one's drinking before a show because it's like in French.
Well, I'm going to change that.
I do too. I would always go in the fridge and be like, "Is this okay?" Like it's
okay. Tête carrée, ici, je veux une bière avant mon spectacle, s'il vous plaît. J'ai besoin de courage liquide.
Is there anything you did try to translate and you tried it on stage and you go, oh, this makes no sense, and just kind of bailed on it, or because you
not last night, but like so I did like a very shortened, modified version of the binge joke, but I just said and binge, and everyone was like ha 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 ha, like they got it. Again, I don't know.
Especially around Gatineau.
In Quebec City, they might be like, like they might be all offended or something.
Well, it wouldn't be offended. They just might not. They wouldn't be offended. That like no one would be offended if you use an English word. I just don't think they would know what you meant. That's the issue.
That's where also, like we talked about, right? Like I can turn it into a bit, I suppose, where I talk about the difficulty I had in trying to translate that word, because much like there's no word for leadership, there's also no real word in French, like specifically that describes the act of like binge drinking, as in like the context of the joke that I'm talking about in English. Yeah. So like I've talked to multiple people about it. We talked about it in the car on the way to Alexandria. I asked like a friend of mine from Buckingham who's like very well educated. She's like she speaks French like the most like university, and like I asked her about it, and she's giving me all these like options, and none of them make sense. Like, oh, you could say a session of drinking that gets like, yeah, that's got great ring to it. Fucking one sentence. Un binge, une session de boire qui prend beaucoup trop de consommation. Like, yeah, that's fuck. There's hilarious, you know. Like, it doesn't work, but I guess I could just do a bit talking about how hard it is to find a word to translate. Right? Like, I don't know if that'll be funny or not, because like the one word that came up, I was Googling this, right? And then I found this article from like Jezebel or like one of these websites where it said, the French have finally come up with a word for binge drinking. And it was an article talking about how like there really was no word, right? Because it like, I guess it's just like, well, what do you mean a binge? This is just a normal night. I drink 5 glasses of wine and then I go to bed. What the fuck are you, right? I don't know.
Yeah. But exactly. You can, I think you should do that. Like set it up and make a joke joke about the fact that there is no word, because it's just like a regular night. Like it's just
that's what I could, because in English how I have the payoff. I didn't do it last night like this, where it's like, well, in England it's 11, and in Russia it's like dans la France il n'y a pas même un mot pour binge parce que ça existe pas. Like I don't know. I could be like or something like that. I don't know, or because the word they came up with was like Beverly Express, and it sounds like a fucking like a bar where you have to go drink fast and get hammered before you get on a plane or something. It is Beverly. Come on down. Si vous n'avez que 15 minutes avant de ramasser vos enfants à l'école, Beverly Express. I don't know. Or workshopping.
Or Buveri is a huge chain, and Buveri Express they only have like 2 things on tap. Like it's
Beverly Express, they just have pure vodka on top. I don't know. The possibilities are endless.
So is this something you want to do more of?
Absolutely. I want to do as much as I can of it. I mean, as the opportunities present themselves. I mean, I'm not going to be pushy about it, but like I would like to eventually, I mean, Montreal is kind of like the New York of the French scene, right? So
there's so much. It's crazy how many rooms there are in Montreal. I mean, you can do several sets a night, 7 nights a week in French. It's really insane.
Yeah,
like
that's
the English scene pales in comparison to the French scene in Montreal.
For you, okay, I mean, yeah, you and Jen have it really good where you are, but like, I guess like the logical progression, I guess, you're close to Montreal, but I guess it's like, it's people will drift to Montreal because it's the big city, I guess, right? Like it's in French, right?
Yeah. It's just, that's where all the opportunities are as far as shows and TV and everything. Yeah.
See, I think I could play like a evil Anglo boss. Definitely, I'm made for that, right? Like,
well, man, that's the thing. Like, it's just like there's so much opportunity because, and we were talking about this before, but like not just stand up, but even as a comedian, not even just acting like playing a role, but there's a game show network, like a whole bunch of or not network, but like what's the word I'm looking for? Like there's a circuit. You can do game shows, like a bunch of game shows. I did one, but it's really hard. Those are really tough too, because you have to be like,
I feel like I'd have a hard time. But what if there's like somebody who like talks like Louis José Hood, or so, like I can't understand everything this person's saying.
Yeah, well,
how am I supposed to be funny?
And not only that is you have to go completely against every fiber of your being, like your personality, and be like so goofy and over the top, obnoxious, it's predictable almost. But that's just the way it is. Like that, it's a whole other muscle. But there's so many of these shows, and you go on a show and you make good money, and I did one of them, and it was crazy how different it was, because in stand-up you're in control, right? And you're in control of how you're perceived, and you can look a certain way. It's you. And so if you don't feel like looking like silly and ridiculous, you don't. You're in control of that. But on this game show I was on with, and again, I'm like you, where I grew up in New Brunswick, so we were influenced by American pop culture. So I know nothing. I know no actresses or actors or comedians in Quebec, or even musicians. Like I know like Jean Leloup and like Louis José Hood, Mike. Like I know like a couple big names, and that's it. Even now that I work in Quebec and live in Quebec, I still don't know. So I was on this like quiz show with a host of a big TV show. She's kind of like she's like Quebec's Rick Mercer, and then this other big time actress. I had no idea who they were, but they were really good on the game show because they didn't mind looking and sounding silly and dumb and saying things and and just always like this energy of like whoa. And I'm just sitting there going like, shut up.
Being
wacky. And I'm there going like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm like, and seething even inside, but they're having a great time, and they're the ones doing it well. Like I just come across as quiet and reserved on the show. Like, and the host came up to me, and it's his show he created. He's like, so hi, how you doing, man? I go, this is tough. He goes, well, thanks, Luke, for the opportunity, Luke, but I hate it. I go, no, I don't hate it, but I go, it's not. He goes, yeah, it's a totally different like muscle or whatever.
So is this show? It's on like it's broadcast on TV.
Yes,
or it's like
yeah. All these game shows.
Like on what network?
This one was on UniTV, but there's so many. That's another thing. There's like TVA and Radio Canada and like VTélé and UniTV and like all.
Okay.
And so there's all these games. It's crazy. Like it's a whole thing.
It's kind of like in England they have like the panel.
Totally, that's exactly it. They have panel shows, quiz shows where you're playing yourself basically, right. But man, doing that, the host just kept commenting on how I had a chill vibe, but meanwhile it's because I was just like fucking sitting there. It's just like this. It's really difficult. Like you just have to not care how you come across. You have to like say whatever comes across your mind. Doesn't matter if you sound dumb or whatever. Just say stuff, fluff, and we were doing these activities and stuff. You had to run around the set, and they're like running around. They're like doing color commentary as they're doing their thing, and it's entertaining to watch. I'm just running around trying to do the thing like in silence. Like you just hear my fancy shoes like clacking on the hard floor, like clack 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 clack. And I don't know, man. It was really fucking. It's tough, but it's just to say that is, if you want to do those things, it's better than a day job or whatever. Like,
man, that's honestly, I'm at the stage now where I'm just so sick of like my career experience low these past few years since I quit the government. And I'm now at the point where like I don't want to work a fucking day job anymore. And like, if this is a way that I can bridge to, I mean, look, it's a long way off. I get it. But like, it's part of like, I need to start planning for this stuff, right? Like, okay, between English comedy and French comedy and just trying to like actually go after things, because I'm like typical, right? I talk. Oh yeah, I should do that, but then I never fucking do anything about it. It's
right.
Like, well, dude, you got, like I need to be a little more proactive that way. But like, yeah, man, because I'm done with day jobs. I don't want to spend the next 20 years working some fucking. I know it's.
This could be a way out. I'm telling you.
Because even like the show we did last night, like I mean, it was just a little show, right? But it's like we're actually getting paid money for this. There's like an English equivalent show. Nobody would even get paid for that, probably,
Right.
or not what not as much as we got. Not that we got a ton of money, but anything is, and for any kind of show like that, just to get paid at all is like a pleasant surprise for me.
Yeah. No, I think you'll do really well too in French. And
I did like 13 minutes. Like there was like 3 acts and then an intermission and then 2 acts. So I was the last guy of the first set or whatever.
Yeah.
But, and then I did. So I don't know. Like I'm excited because like even it's funny after the show. Like I start to think in French. I start to write down ideas in French. Like my brain is in French mode where I'm like, okay, this like what if you add this to this joke? It's good. Like I already have like new ideas for stuff I want to do. Like so that's great. I love the challenge. J'ai hâte de continuer.
Yeah, I think you'll do well, and like the more you'll do, the more people you'll meet, and you'll just get a good footing in the scene. And
people are very nice.
It's kind of off-putting at first. You're like, what do you want from me? And
it's like, what?
One thing I will say
are you
about
talking to me?
Yeah,
are you talking to me?
I know. They do. One thing I will say about French comics, typically, and I know they fucking talk so much in green rooms. Where in English, I don't know. I don't like talking before a set, and I don't know if it's a nerves thing but man,
it depends on the show.
Yeah,
like if it's a nothing show, I'll just blab all day. If it's an important show, I tend to be a little more aloof for sure.
Yeah. But it's a whole different world, and I'm excited that you're part of it, and you'll do more of it. We have more people to bring in. Like we have to bring in Matt Carter, and other people.
Yeah, he seems really. I don't know.
I think he's coming around to it. I think he's coming around to the idea. The other day I was at Absolute, and Matt came to hang out, and after. Oh, you were there.
I was
you were there, and Steve was there. Steve Bilodeau.
They were talking,
Yeah, well, it's like the first time in my life I've heard Matt speak in French. I'm like, holy shit, like, and like perfectly bilingual. It's really weird that we're both French.
Well, like he went to high school in French. His mother's French. Like French is I don't know if it's his first language, but he's like he can switch back and forth. Like,
by the way, I am starting a room with Steve Bilodeau. It was at Papo Bar. It was supposed to be at Papo Bar, but we moved it to Le Troquet, where you've been. So it's going to be every Thursday night at Le Troquet.
Okay. Quand est-ce que ça va commencer?
La semaine prochaine, baby. Next week, le 9 septembre. So for Ottawa Gatineau people, local Outaouais,
awesome.
That may be watching the show. But what do you got coming up? Are you working this week?
When you have a spot, let me. I don't have anything booked till Sunday night. I'm doing a show for like Carleton U, Frosh students, a couple of us at Carleton.
Hey, how was Swizzles on Saturday last week? Not to cut you off, but
it was okay. It was.
Is it a different? What is it? Is it like a talk show? David Haddad.
Yeah. So this is like a new thing David and Andrew are starting, where it's like they want to do it as like it was the bar's idea. I think, because David's actually working at Swizzles now as a bartender. So like their idea was like something like as a kind of a mock talk show where like after your set, kind of like Johnny Carson style, Andrew and David like interview you. Like,
where they sit though? It's such a small stage.
Well, yeah. So there's a little desk. They have a table set up right beside the stage.
So you stay in the plexiglass like container, and they're outside of it, like next to it.
You stay in the contestants booth, and then they just interview you from there. So it was the first time doing it. There was like. There was no crowd there. Like there was just not an audience really. So we're basically just performing for like other comics. So it was a good concept. I mean, the idea's got legs. Andrew and David are both, funny guys. So, I mean,
are you going to be doing Trevor's Pad at Live on Elgin at the temporary Yuck Yucks location?
Yeah. So,
and does Yucks have a new location?
No, they don't.
They don't have anything down the pike?
I don't have the next Trevor's Pad booked yet because I think that Yucks is still a little uncertain as to their status as like even next month. I'm not sure if they're like I don't know if they actually have officially they're going to be at Live on Elgin for October. So that being the case, I don't have another show because everything in September is already booked. Maybe in October, I don't know. It depends. Like Yucks is on literally its 4th location of the year now, so
it's too bad Live on Elgin isn't like double the size, like 150 instead of 70, because it's the perfect venue. It's so nice.
Well, because it's a live music venue, so you know the sound is great. It's a great venue, and because you're far enough back, there's no fucking plexiglass.
Yeah,
like I'm so tired of the fucking. I get it. Look, we're in the 4th wave, but like. Man, performing behind that fucking plexiglass now, it's like I'm so done with it. It's like I can, like, because you're far enough back there that you don't need that. So I've only done one show there since they've moved here, but like it was the Andrew Albert show, but just such a great venue. I've never had a bad show there. You're right. Like I wish it could become the permanent Yucks, but it's just. I mean, it's a live music venue, and it's not big enough to make. Like, capacity there is like maybe 50. Yeah, maybe. Like, you just can't get enough people in there to make money. But I don't know what's going on with the new location search. I've stopped asking. I'll just surprise me, guys, when it happens. It'd be nice if something. I don't know. It's kind of shitty, right? Like I know it's circumstances beyond their control, but it's like 4 locations in 6 months. Like, holy fuck,
Yeah, they should go back to Albert Street.
You know what? I guess it's not an option because I legit said that, but because I live not that far away from there, and I don't know what that room is now.
There was parking. It was perfect. I mean, it was such a great club when it was there.
And that's the thing. It's like a part of town that's so dead that it actually brought some life to that area.
Yeah.
So yeah, parking was never an issue because there's nothing going on around there.
Yeah, there's a huge parking lot right next to it.
For those of you watching who don't know what we're talking about, the original Yuck Yucks in Ottawa, which was on Albert Street at the corner of Metcalfe.
Yeah.
In the basement of the Beacon Arms Hotel. Is that what it's called?
No, wasn't it the Capitol Suites?
Capitol Suites. I think it used to be called the Beacon Arms or something. Yeah, Capitol Suites, like the hotel on. I don't know why I'm doing this. The hotel, it's like I'm an air traffic controller. It was a great room, man. That was where I started comedy, where you started too, I guess.
Yeah, it was an amazing room. Yeah, in Ottawa for sure.
It was like an old timey, like it had this great setup of you were like, instead of like being straight back, it was like you were like on a cruise ship or something where it was like easy to connect with the crowd. I don't know. I probably romanticized it into being greater than it was.
No, it was. It really was great. It was carpeted. The sound was really good. Like
sound was good.
Like physically, it was great. A great club. The bathrooms in the back. You could it was like perfect. It was perfect.
It was a perfect setup for Yucks too, because I think that's from what I know. I think Howard. I think they're trying that's what their new approach is. They're going after hotels because it makes sense to be in a hotel, right? Because
put the comics up there.
I mean, you've got the food taken care of, and you've got somewhere to actually keep comedians. Like with, I'm sure they'll like at least at a discounted rate. They'll let because it was great for comics. They if the host could like go up and like have a beer in their room. While the headliner was on, and just take the elevator back down. Like it was so convenient, like.
Oh yeah, hotel club gigs are the best.
All comedy clubs should be in hotels, really. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned.
The only thing is, then you can fall into that trap of where you show up at the club and you talk to the waitress, and it's the first things you've said out loud all day. It's like 7:49 p.m. You're like, hey, and you're like, oh, I haven't used my voice today.
Nah, see, as somebody who's always yelling at the TV or news, that's never an issue for me. I mean, I like, what the fuck is, it's never. I'm very vocal when I'm alone in a hotel room.
You still do. You mentioned the fourth wave. I'm really not feeling this fourth wave. I haven't been like.
No, it's well, when the kids start going back to school, it's
right. I just haven't been noticing. Like I haven't been really watching much of the news. As soon as I was double vaxxed, I just put that in the back of my mind. And
yeah, I was doom scrolling last night. No, it's. You're right. I mean, it's not going to be. I mean, like we're getting higher levels of vaccination, but it's the kids in school that I worry about. It's going to, and they're going to infect people that aren't vaccinated who still. But yeah, if that was your lead up to, yes, we're planning to start doing the internet show again as of next Tuesday. So we'll see. Trevor's Pad, the internet show, Trevor's Pad on Facebook. Next Tuesday night, we've taken a hiatus for the month of August, but we're going to go back to doing it weekly on Tuesdays as of like September 7th. That's the plan.
Once a week?
Yeah. Once a week, Tuesday night, 9 p.m.
Because, at the beginning of this... At the beginning of this thing, you were doing 7 nights a week. Remember that?
Yeah, it was nuts. Yeah, for the first month or 6 weeks, we did it every single night. And then it went to maybe 3 or 4 nights a week, and then down to and then on and off. But yeah, we did we've done, God, I lost count, 130 something shows, I think.
Yeah.
All available on Facebook in the archives.
Do you ever think of podcasting it, putting it on Apple Podcasts and stuff? You should be doing that. I mean, it's really...
Yeah, well, see, another thing, Trevor's pipe dream of the week, right? Tavis and I have been talking about doing a podcast for over a year now. I have the gear, but we just couldn't get around to we still are oh yeah, let's get on that. We just have to find a time and dedicated, like you do, right? Where you every morning you get up and you're just we need, not podcast every day, but just a dedicated time to do it.
Yeah, I do 5 times a week. That's a bit excessive, but
but you do Monday to Friday, right?
Yeah, Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. now.
Yeah, okay.
And do about an hour, sometimes 2, and but it's a lot. It's really a lot. But both Jen and I have just trained ourselves that it's part of our routine. It's part of our day. So it's just become this thing. Also, doing it live is really great because there's no editing. One take. Tony, we upload. Yeah. We do it live. We upload it. We don't get a lot of people that watch live. We really get all of our listeners on the audio on Apple Podcasts. We get quite a bit of downloads.
Oh,
so it's really the audio that people are, but I do video because people keep insisting that video is the future, and may as well set it all up and streamline that. Off. Yeah, and at least you streamline it in a way that it's all there, it's all set up, and you can just build from that rather than do it without and then have to be okay, I guess we'll add video to it. So now we've just
got to show off the hair, right? I mean,
well, that's right.
You've got great hair.
Show off the hair and to show off this cat behind me here.
Oh, well, yeah. I guess I should get back to work, probably.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks so much.
Yeah.
This is the newest French comic in town.
Yeah. Ouais, tu peux me voir tous les spectacles partout la région d'Outaouais, éventuellement, probablement.
Trevor Thompson.
Trevor Thompson. Yeah, so thanks again for finally kicking me in the ass to start doing it, and I'm glad I am. It's going great.
Yeah, buddy.
Thanks. We'll be in touch.
Yeah, man. We'll see you real soon, buddy. Actually, we should.
We'll be in touch.
We'll be in touch. We should do.
I sound like a fucking scumbag agent. Hey, we'll be in touch. Yeah, let's do lunch.
Well, actually, remember when we went to Montreal 3 years ago? I took you there to see a show. I was doing a Just for Laughs.
That's been 3 years.
Yes. I took you to see a Just for Laughs showcase I was on that I bombed on. But anyway, that's not the point. When my agent called, remember? She was so quintessential 90s movies, Hollywood. Remember I answered the phone, I'm like, hello? She goes, how's my favorite funny man doing?
Oh, God. How's my favorite?
Oh, shit.
Babe, I have got the perfect part for you, okay?
Yeah.
You're playing you're playing this New Brunswick preacher, okay? So you got to really turn on the Acadian accent.
Yeah.
But it's great for you. Yeah, that was really industry for sure. But hey, man, at least she's calling.
That's right.
At least she's bringing you work. That's their job, right?
Yeah.
When I was still signed with Yucks, I was like, okay, I'm signed with you guys. Where is my fucking work? I'm holding up my end of the deal here by not performing at Absolute.
Yeah.
Where is my fucking work? It's like you're not really. Anyway, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent.
Yeah, no. Go.
I should go back to work. But
okay, buddy, get back to work. We'll stay in touch.
Yes. We'll be in touch. All right.
We'll be in touch. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say before you go. Actually, we should do weekends, like a late night show on weekends. We should do We should do a Trevor's Pad, Julien Dionne
crossover.
Crossover on weekends.
Okay.
We cross post on both of our pages.
Yeah,
and
if I'm available.
Yeah.
Not, fucked up out of my mind on booze and marijuana.
When you said booze like that, it reminded me, this is a throwback that no one will understand but you, but it reminded me of Peter Grenstra's joke, the difference between a drunk and a... When you said booze,
it's like, hey man, I need some booze because I got to get to there. Like, like,
they've got a
money.
story.
Give it to me. And these guys like, yeah, I forgot about that. That's great.
Shit.
All right. Oh man, we're gonna be doing this for an hour. If I don't, just reminiscing about the.
All right, get back to work. We'll catch up soon.
I gotta get back to work. Okay, all right. Thank you. Merci, Tonto.
See you, buddy. There you go. It's Trevor Thompson, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, the talented Trevor Thompson. All right. Well, that was fun. That was a fun chat. Let me see. Let's go for the close. We'll go for the close. We'll come back tomorrow for our Friday edition of the show. I want to talk about ridiculous restrictions. We'll talk about that tomorrow. And also things going up in price. So those are two through lines of the last 18 months or so. Ridiculous restrictions, things you wouldn't understand, and that will just be residual, will just linger for years to come. Like I was at a dinner party and we're just all there and there's food out, and now we're just serving our party mix with a spoon. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, this is like going to be new, just a new thing forever now. We'll just think back, oh yeah, that was because of the pandemic. Remember if you're going to eat hickory sticks, use the tweezers, the hickory stick tweezers. We'll be using hickory stick tweezers for years to come, and we won't exactly be sure why. But I saw this one restriction that said this got to be the most ridiculous COVID restriction yet. It's a piece of styrofoam that's in the holes on greens on golf courses, so that your ball doesn't go all the way in the bottom of the hole. It just kind of will go past the edge and sit in the cup, but high up, so you can just grab it. That's COVID restriction, because you wouldn't want everyone's COVID fingers in the cup. So that's just an example. And I also want to talk tomorrow about things going up in price. Like certain things make sense. Lumber went up. Now it's leveling off. Certain things like a hot tub. Sure, everyone's at home now. Gardening supplies. But other things, you're like rollerblades. I'm paying $900 for rollerblades. What's going on? The pandemic. Like, I feel like people took advantage in both ways. You know what I mean? Like, companies took advantage of the prices going up just because of the thing. All right, so we'll I'll put it out there in the group and see if people what ridiculous COVID restrictions that you've come across in the last little bit. So we'll touch on that tomorrow. And until then, that's that. All right, so I appreciate you watching. Thanks again to Trevor Thompson. That was a good chat. Good times had by all. Jenny will be here tomorrow, I believe. I know she has a keynote, so I'm not sure. We'll check the time, but we'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of the Julien Dionne Show with Jenny. Oh, yes, of course we'll be back tomorrow because we've got Alex Wood tomorrow. Alex Wood, author, comedian, all-around good guy, friend of the show, friend in life, Alex Wood. All right, so we'll see you tomorrow, everybody, for Friday. Friday edition of the show. Where's my music? Oh, here it is. All right. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Subscribe on all the major podcast platforms or your favorite one. We're available on all the major ones. Follow on Instagram, Facebook, all the social media. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate you subscribing. We'll see you tomorrow. And until then, watch your head. Yeah.
Such a beautiful waste of time. Waste of time. A beautiful waste of time. It's just a waste of time. Wandering eyes and itchy feet. I'm just a thin, nervous shadow walking backwards down the street. The landing is bitter, but the falling is oh so sweet. It's just a waste of time. A beautiful waste of time. It's just a waste of time. The whole world wants a piece of my head, but they all get a piece of my mind instead. I roll over and go back to bed. It's such a beautiful waste of time. A waste of time.